replaying. So
I'm gonna go ahead and have the thing go.
hey.
Are you able to get in there to the meeting?
So, and then Anna's, she always, Colton doesn't play on the TV. Liam, Braver on.
Make sure, yeah,
He's got to
unmuted
get
on
it.
Zoom.
Well, tell Arlene I said, Dave.
You might want to use Zoom. Yeah, you probably want to mute Zoom.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Do you know if all the board members were present in person?
Eric Dusa is on. Josh. How do I make it just that and get rid of these? Out in my view. Yeah, Patsy's in, and so is Dusa. That's what I was thinking. Go ahead. Spotlight for everyone. I get no, you think you'll hold it. I'll tell you, I get in trouble. More, I'm live streaming, I'm already on Zoom, I'm good. Okay. I'm muted on Zoom. So like when I share, okay. When I want to do my PowerPoint. That's all I gotta do, right? Just let that stay. I only got two things I have to share. Hi. Okay, we're in now. Oh. Okay. I'm at the board meeting. I'll get ready to start with these.
Hello. What's all this? So did COVID do that or that's just my voice decided to do the same thing?
Maybe I don't have COVID with growth.
So are we a senior? Yeah. What are we doing? Run track? Awesome. Great. Grade's good?
Even though I'm still dropping in class right now. Our whole grade this year has been a 98. I'm dropping.
We taking doing wrong. You're dropping some blood. He started looking.
He was thinking when he started that hurry.
I was like, oh, all right.
Little boy's been speaking with when he can, would you believe it?
Those big tears in second grade, those big tears was like, in September when they got there. And then in fifth grade, he had a perfect score on his cat test and math. And the first year he had to take his regulars, he was mad. Oh, he understood math. Oh, I'm sure he did. Maybe he had. I had him my kid.
If you look, I want you know.
I am actually just about to learn. My 6 year up there. Now, they had two different principals that they left. And y'all getting a real good one now.
Yeah.
I know that.
Chris will be there more.
Who's that? Good to see you. Thank you.
This time, need a motion to terminate the session. So motion second. All in favor, say say aye. Aye. Other right sign. Okay, this time we'll stand for a moment silence. Please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, I'd like to welcome all seniors tonight. Glad to have y'all tonight. This time, we get approval of the minutes.
Second.
We got a motion and second. All in favor, say motion aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. This time, we're down to our special recognition. Right?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Goodwin, and all of our guests, it's my privilege to be a part of the recognition of our student athletes of the year for Chesterfield County. Our athletic directors will now come forward one at a time, alphabetically, starting with Central, to recognize the athletes from their school, and then they will be followed alphabetically. Once we have recognized these student athletes, then we will also, I will come back and recognize the male and female district athletes of the year. And so we'll start with Coach Lear. Coach Lear.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's my pleasure to be here tonight representing Central High School because we have two special athletes we're recognizing as our athletes of the year. Both being seniors, I'm going to recognize our female athlete of the year first. Her mom and dad, Todd and Michelle, are behind me in attendance. Leah Evans is our female athlete of the year, and she plays softball at Central High School, and we've had one more busy day. I think that will attest to this. She signed at 3:45 today to play softball at Newberry College, and after answering questions with the newspapers, we got to Chesterfield as quick as we could. So it's been a day that they'll never forget. When we talk about student athletes, Leah is a perfect example. Very briefly, her grade point average is 4.831. She is in the top 10 of her class. Last time I checked, she was number 4. She's a member of the Beta Club and Mu Alpha Beta. Is also a member of the 2020-2021 Central High School Wall of Fame, which recognizes the top 12 seniors at Central High School. And as I just said, she signed to play softball at Newberry College. One of our best teachers at Central High School, who was a former softball coach, Kevin Dresser, had this quote about Leah. Leah Evans is, without a doubt, one of the most dynamic and special student athletes that I've had the pleasure to work with. Her work ethic and focus, academically and athletically, are beyond reproach, and her caring demeanor and kindness further exemplify the tremendous character she possesses both on and off the field. I can think of no one, past or present, more deserving of this award. At this time, I present to you Leah Evans, Central High School's Female Athlete of the Year. Okay, now for our Male Athlete of the Year, a lot of the things I can say about EJ are just what I said about Leah. EJ is being accompanied tonight by his mom, Greta, and grandmother, Miss Sherry Kirkley. EJ is also a senior, and EJ has participated in 2 sports at Central High School, cross country and track. And if you've ever been to a cross country or track meet and watched our distance runners run, you know about EJ3. EJ, just like Leah, has a very high GPA, 4.570. He's also top 10 in the senior class, also a member of the Beta Club, also a member of Mu Alpha Beta, and he's also a member of the 2020-2021 Central High School Wall of Fame, which recognizes the top 12 seniors at Central High School. EJ has signed to run at Catawba College, and I'm sure will do great things in the next 4 years at Catawba. Just briefly, some of his accomplishments in cross country and track. He has been all region in cross country for 6 years, ever since his 7th grade year. He's been all state 3 times, and he's also lettered in track for 6 years, and has been all region in track for 3 years. In attendance tonight, I don't know if he's made his way in, but Coach Joel Dale is right here at the door, and I attribute, and I think you guys will attribute a lot of EJ's success to Joel Dale. Coach Dale had this quote: "There are a lot of attributes you want in your runners. Once the competition starts, the main one is someone you know will toe the line and give everything he or she has." EJ is a fierce competitor, and from day one, he has given everything he has in practice and in every single meet. At this time, I present to you EJ3, Male Athlete of the Year, Central High School.
We'll give Coach Bird one more second to get here because I'm not aware, and I'll move straight on to Chesterfield. Coach Hatcher.
Good afternoon. Like Coach Leah just mentioned, it's a privilege for us to get up here and recognize some of our athletes. We're going from one spectrum to the other. He's got seniors. I've got 2 sophomores that made player of the year. These are 2 unicorns in school. They're 3 sport athletes and unbelievable student athletes. The first one I want to recognize is Miss Rayleigh Rivers. She's here with her mom, Miss Janet, and her grandmother, Hannah Johnson. Rayleigh is a volleyball, basketball, and softball player. She's a member of our Beta Club. She's a member of our choir, praise, dance, AAU basketball, all types of things like that. She's ranked in the top 20 in her class. She's got a 4.2 GPA on a scale of 5. She's incredible in her classroom. Some of her accolades is, she's gotten the leadership award in volleyball. She's played softball for the last 2 years, basketball. She was all region twice, all state, in both the high school sports sport and in the coaches association. As a 10th grader, this young lady was voted team captain. So that's pretty special when you get young kids that can lead like that too. She was several times player of the week. One of the biggest things that I really enjoy about Rayleigh is just her competitiveness. She is just in and out of the classroom. She is competitive in everything she does. One of our teachers wrote, Rayleigh is a leader and competitor. Her drive to be successful in both the classroom and in athletics is contagious. She is truly an example of a student athlete. Let me present you Miss Rayleigh Rivers. The next gentleman I'll recognize is the guy with the endless smile, Mr. Andrew Threet. He's here also as a sophomore, as a 3-sport athlete at Chesterfield High School. Andrew is here with his mother, Dorothy, and his aunt, Davina. Right? That's it, right? It's Davina Mel. This year, Andrew was only a 2-sport athlete due to COVID stepping in, and he wasn't able to participate in basketball, but he did participate in football and track. In football, he was our all-state lineman. He was our most valuable lineman. Again, as a 10th grader, voted to be a team captain. I mean, just a gentleman that is just an unbelievable young man. He was all region. He's already been, I'm sorry, let me back up. He was all PD, and he's been offered by Old Dominion already as a sophomore. So, big things are going to be there athletically. He's a member of the Beta Club. In track, he just qualified for Upper State. Andrew has a 3.7 GPA on a scale of 4. He's ranked in the top 35 of his class, and again, just an unbelievable work ethic. One of his teachers wrote down, a class gentleman. Don't let the manners and the smile fool you. He is a fierce competitor. His work ethic has him destined for success in whatever he does. Right now, I want to present Mr. Andrew Threet.
Dr. McLaurin is going to present from Mackey Hospital.
Good evening. It's an honor to be able to present tonight 2 outstanding student athletes. They exemplify what you want to see in the student athlete. They work extremely hard year round. They do everything they can to get better, but also in the classroom, they do the same thing. And they're very good quality character people. So tonight it's an honor I'll be introducing our female, and then Coach Johnson come up and introduce our male student athlete. Our female student athlete is Deja Smith. She's a senior. She's accompanied tonight by Elizabeth and Cy Kerr. She's a 2-sport athlete in tennis and softball. She's got a 4.43 GPA. She's all region in softball 2019, all state softball 2019. She's a member of the Senior Beta Club, National Technical Honor Society, and FFA. She also just signed a letter of commitment to play college softball for Morris Hill College, Morris Hill University. So we're excited to see her, what she's going to do in the future. A quote from her coach, Ms. McCaskill, says, Daisy is a model student athlete. She works hard to excel in the classroom as well as on the field. I've enjoyed the opportunity to coach her the past 3 years. She's a wonderful young lady. Just an interesting tidbit. My first week at Mackie High School, I was walking down the hall. I ran across Daisy and I said, thank goodness we're on the same team now. She said, what do you mean? I said, I've been on the other side too many times when you've been pitching. So I'm glad you're on our team. And I said, you know, she kind of looked at me funny. I said, you know, the fastest softball game I ever saw was when you were in middle school. I was at a different school and we were 3 up, 3 down, and she was about 3 pitches, and we were whipping, and it was a pretty good game, though. It was fast. At least when it was hot, it was fast. But she did an awesome job in middle school back then, and thank goodness she's on our team now. So it's an honor tonight to be able to present Daisy Smith as our female student athlete. And Coach Klein would like to come present a young man he's had the privilege of coaching for the last 2 years.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Good evening. Tonight it's an honor to be here from Mackie High School and introduce our male student athlete of the year, Mr. Brady Bull. Brady's escorted tonight are with his parents, Bo and Michelle Bull. The old quote with Brady is, "It's not about the size of the dog in a fight, but fighting the dog." And that's Brady. That's Brady. He's been a hardworking kid for us. He's been a very good student athlete at Mackie High School and has always represented us the right way and done things at a high level. He's a member of the football, the basketball, and the baseball team, all 3 sports. Has been a 3-year starter in those sports. While playing baseball, he was a member of the 2018 and the 2019 1A state championship team, and he was actually a full-year starter on baseball. All-region selection in 18, 19, and 20 for football. High school sports sport all-state player in 2019 and 2020. Member of Senior Bader Club, NTHS, and FCA. Brady's done a great job representing Mackie High School and will now continue his career at North Greenville University as a student athlete. We're all excited for him, and we know he is going to do great things there. You can tell his parents, Bo and Michelle, have done a great job raising him, and he's going to be great and represent not only Mackie High School, but Chesterfield County as he goes on throughout life. And your Mackie High male student athlete of the year, Brady Boyle.
I'm not very good at magic, but Coach Bird is here, and we're ready to recognize the student athlete from Sharon.
Well, I will say this, my apologies, but I got here at the same time as one of our athletes, so we are, I guess we're on time. Sorry to hold you up, but glad to be here on time to start this. Our first nominee is a young lady, parents here today. I can't say enough about her. She's just been a tremendous asset to Sherrall High School. Her name is Temple Jones. Her mother and father's here, Eric Jones, Tanya Jones, and sister Kim is here. They're twins, by the way. Okay. Temple has participated in varsity volleyball and varsity softball for 5 years. Member of the Beta Club, National Teacher Honor Society, prom staff. Sherrall First Baptist youth group worship team. If you ever heard her sing, she's got a beautiful voice, but a tremendous athlete as well. She's been all region, all state. This past year, volleyball, all region. Continues to show that leadership not only on the court and on the field, but in our school as well. Big into her youth group. Just a couple of things. Her youth pastor, Trey Allison, said, faith is taking a step. When you are scared, even when you don't know which direction you're headed, that is Temple, always ready to take that step of faith. And her coach, her softball coach, Coach Thurman, said Temple is a perfect example of a student athlete that we try to produce in our program. She excels in every category of leadership, athletic ability, and being a great teammate. Our female player of the year at Sherrall High School is Temple Jones. Our male player of the year is also a senior. Here with us today is his mother, Brandis. Father Scotty's not in attendance. I'm sure he's working at the hangar. If you don't know, they're big in the airport there and flying planes all over the place. So, believe it or not, our representative here now, Tyson, I think he's pilot license yet, helicopter license. So sitting here at 18 and he's already able to fly a helicopter and plane. He gets it from his family for sure, but hardworking family, and we'll appreciate him. But Tyson has been a member of our varsity football team, varsity baseball team. For the past 6 years, he's been a part of our baseball program. I can remember him coming up as a seventh grader and say, "Coach, I just want to catch in the bull." I can remember that happening in the playoff game, and him just being down there catching in the bullpen, and to see him grow and mature the way that he has. Tyson has just been a superior athlete for us, both in football and baseball, but also been a leader in our school. National Honor Society all 4 years, Beta Club for 4 years, FCA for 4 years, a member of Midway Baptist Church, a GPA of 4.39, received awards in academics along with athletic awards. Tyson's been all-state, all-region in both football and baseball. So Tyson works full-time at All Aviation, as we said, while maintaining high grades and participating in sports. Played on a bunch of travel teams and big-time travel teams around the Southeast, and been recognized by Palmetto Games that recognizes your top players in the state in sophomore and junior years. But Tyson just a tremendous player for us, and he'll be attending Winthrop University with a baseball scholarship there. And we just wish him much success in that. But a quote from me: Tyson is an extremely hardworking student athlete and has been very productive both on and off the field at Sherrall High School. We wish him the best of luck in his future in the next level at Winthrop University. Our male player of the year at Sherrall High School, Tyson Paul. I would also like to say that Temple will be signing with Florence Darlington for softball tomorrow. So wish her luck in that endeavor as well. Thank you.
It's an honor for me to be able to announce the district athletes of the year for Chesterfield County Schools. And first, we'll start with ladies first. The district athlete of the year for Chesterfield County Schools is Miss Temple Jones. Congratulations. The young man that will be representing the district as its athlete of the year is from Central High School, Mr. E.J. Creek.
I would like to say tonight, it's we're all country, everybody in our world dealing with. It's great to get back to some kind of normal activity. recognizing these children tonight. We've been really struggling like everybody else, but it's glad to have our children be able to bring them back and recognize each and every one of them, not only for their athletics, but also for academics. That's what we heard all night. These kids are not just playing, they also achieve in class. And that says a lot to these children. And it's not only that, but our teachers and our coaches has really helped these children along. And I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you. Thank you for coming. And appreciate these parents who have really instilled a lot in their children to progress. Let's all give them a hand again. Y'all can go ahead and leave. Y'all need to do that. Thank you very much. Okay. It's time to Mr. Wheeler. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good evening.
Good evening.
Prior to the meeting, you have been given the monthly reviews for both March and April, since we were not able to present March at the last meeting. I'll be happy to answer any questions or make any comments regarding those. Okay. This evening, we'll be bringing before you the presentation for the first reading of the 21-22 budget. The one-sheet summary has been put into the portal, and we've also given you a hard copy in front of you at your table so you can follow along. I will mention several things before we get into the actual numbers and the information on those. But just a few reminders. As we noted to you in the memos and on the presentation document, the first reading is based on the House version of the state budget. Just a reminder that the Senate has passed a version of the budget, but we want to make you aware that we're not able to bring you Senate information tonight because there was some issues with the state data for the 45th day. And since the 135th day data has not been verified fully at the state level at this point, they're having to use 45-day numbers, but they're having to rebuild that. So hopefully we'll be able to get you some Senate information maybe in between this meeting and the next. We've been told that the House and the Senate will be well into June before they adopt a state budget. This is very important because we thought initially this was going to go very quickly. However, this Thursday is the end of the session, signing out resolution. They will take a period of time off and they will not reconvene until June 8th. So the conference committee and anyone from the House cannot take anything back up until June 8th, which means that you're looking at somewhere around June 20th before they really get serious about the budget again. One other thing that's important with that is they are waiting on the BEA on May 20th to give another revenue projection based on the finalization of state tax return revenues and other components. So while all of that's going on, we do feel comfortable moving forward with the process. We think any differences between the two sides, the House and the Senate, will be funded. We need to start our process or continue our process as much as possible so we can zero in on our system parameters and be able to handle multiple changes that are coming with salary schedules, etc.
The reading tonight, we made sure that we tried not to confuse, but either that, but confuse things with combining both House and Senate version components. So the reading tonight will not have the $1,000 across the board increase for teachers. This version does not include any additional assumed increase in revenue from the Senate version or from any BEA reassessments. So included in tonight's reading is the building in of the one retroactive step for the 2021 year based on the prior 1920 service. It includes one step, and that's for all eligible employees, as we've already passed. One step for the 21-22 year for all employees that are eligible. The reinstatement of the 1% employer retirement increase that was suspended due to the pandemic. A small increase for the employer health insurance increase. That's what we know right now is 0.80%, but we understand that that could be a little bit higher once we get through the Senate version. And this also includes, due to the sunset of the law, returning all working retirees to schedule, which would nullify the current 10% reduction that they're under. This proposal does not include any local millage increase for operations or debt service. So I want to move now to the summary of the budget reading, the draft. And as you see in red at the top of that, we have those components that I just mentioned. But as we move past, we're going to be working from the current year budget, which is a continuing resolution. And you'll see in the upper left the increases that we anticipate for expenditures for the 21-22 year. And most of these you have seen in previous presentations. So we hope that very little of this will be new to you. But the one retroactive step for the 2021 year for all employees, all eligible employees, $600,000. Remember, we have to build that in because it is annualized and recurring in the state budget. Then the 21-22 step going into next year is mandated for teachers, as it has been in prior years. And we're proposing to do the step for all others that are eligible outside of the certificate, outside of those who are certified. $750,000 is the estimate on that. And that includes longevity steps, as we have mentioned, for non-certified, those classified categories. Fringe increases. As we increase the salaries, naturally the fringe itself will increase because those are based on percentage. Estimate of $465,000 increase for that. Small increase for transportation costs. That is going to be for normal increases in transportation, especially with anticipated costs due to fuel and maintenance of bus cameras and systems. So we have to look at a little bit of technology or refurbishment or maintenance on those to make sure we continue to have those refreshed. FEBA, again, we're having the reinstitution of the 1% employer retirement increase. And there is the small increase in the health insurance side. Both of those combined, we feel will be an increase of $150,000. And then, as we mentioned in a prior meeting, sunset of the law for negotiation of working retirees, putting those back on schedule, we estimate those to be about $250,000. So this being a budget that does not have a whole lot of material in it and not a lot of extra things coming to you, this is based on information. Most of this is based on information or components of the state mandates that are being passed to us and will be passed to us either in the Senate version or the conference committee version once they concur and debate and then concur. We do want to mention, other than those increases, we do feel like when we look at this year's budget being a continuing resolution, we do feel like that we will have a savings of about $550,000 when we look at actual projections versus the budget. Again, we came in under a continuing resolution. There were certain changes that we would have normally made to a budget that we could not, since there was a statewide continuing resolution. So we do feel like we will be able to realize about $550,000 in savings when comparing to that particular budget. So from an expenditure standpoint, that takes us to a grand total of expenditures expected of $63,098,000. So $63,098,591. I'll break there. Are there any questions about the expenditure summary for 21-22 year?
The transportation cost, is that just for the increase of fuel, or does that also include the cameras and remaining buses?
Well, our approach to actually installing the cameras, based on the cost of those, we're able to use capital budget monies to install those. The issue on the transportation side, though, is we have to make sure that we maintain those systems. So you may have to have updates to the software components in those download. Are those DVRs or what do those go to? So we need to make sure that that's kept up to date.
Mr. Willard, you said the House is going back on the 8th and the Senate, and we're gonna have it on the, they would have a word by the 20th for the budget. Our second reading will be June 14th. Be August.
June 14th.
June 14th, we have that. Now, you said no millage increase. Now,
Correct.
That would be still no millage increase for June also, with you not knowing how we're gonna come back. Are they gonna come back at us with anything?
Well, at this point, the actual legislative session or the General Assembly has no impact on raising the millage, unless we know that we are in a very bad situation and we have to go that route. However, due to Act 388, if you recall, we're limited on the amount of millage we can increase, and based on the CPI information and any local information regarding growth, we do not feel we have room to propose a millage increase anyway. Yes. Anyone? All right. We'll look at the revenues for a little bit. We're looking at an $11 increase in base unit cost. So there's not a whole lot of activity on the revenue side based on the House version. So when we look at the information that we are getting, or the dollars that we anticipate getting, this is not going to look very good when we compare to what the expenses look like at the current time. I'll urge you to also remember that under the continuing resolution, we did not get, we only got certain portions of revenue updated to us or adjusted here in the 45th and the 135th day counts. Unfortunately, like most districts across the state, those adjustments hurt us rather than help us. So we're actually, even though we're getting a boost in revenue through the 8 classrooms with the new formula, if you will, that encompasses base student cost, we're actually going backwards a little bit because of our reduction in enrollments, et cetera. So as we go through the revenues, look at the increases that we do anticipate at this time under the House version. We do expect, if you recall, when we've done the last two presentations, we knew we were going to have an increase on the fringe cost, but I told you we would get the majority of that funded. Two items on the revenue increases: 8 classrooms fringe, we anticipate about $350,000. And then the one that's called other fringe is a small increase that helps us navigate the 1% retirement increase of $35,000. That seems small, but keep in mind that we get a credit from PEBA every fall where we pay that quarterly bill, where that bill works out to be only about half of what it normally would be. So we're actually booking additional revenue than what we see here, actually to the tune of about $400,000. But that cannot be added to this budget because it's already built in. So that's the piece that just helps us with the addition. Tier 3 state reimbursement, anticipate $167,000 increase there. And then the funded mandates, if you recall, since they have annualized the steps with the retroactive step going back through the 2021 year, that now annualizes or makes that recurring. And that also applies to the 21-22 step. So we expect to receive about $650,000 to offset costs of the mandates for steps related to certified positions. And as I mentioned, as we go down the revenue list, we do have to take into consideration some deductions for what we expect and where we are now. Again, we were impacted by losses in enrollment. And we were fortunate, and if you want to look at it that way, we were fortunate to receive a little bit of a bump up in the index of taxpaying ability, which means, I say a bump up, maybe that's a bump down, if you will, if you look at it that way, based on all of the information that goes in there. Again, don't relate it all to poverty, but it's the ability to collect taxes, and it's how much our assessed values measure to the total assessed values in the state. Our amount in comparison went down a little bit, which means we get about 1% more in state support. So as opposed to a reduction of $400,000, the reduction to EFA, including the add-ons, is about $200,000. Interest earnings, the interest rates are not going anywhere. Unfortunately, there were only very few. There really wasn't much we could do with adjustments during the continuing resolution to adjust that budget. But going into 21-22, we do need to reduce our expectation of interest earnings by $150,000. And due to the presence in the next few years of the ESSER funds and capital monies that are that will be available to us where we can spend directly out of those, we will not be relying on the $250,000 capital funds transfer to general fund that we previously had written into the budget. So as you can see, that brings our grand total of expected revenues to be much less at this point than the expenditures, $60,853,000. And you can see the summaries and how that possibly impacts our fund balance, assuming a lot of things. If you look at the summary closely, you'll notice that this assumes that we use what we had allotted this year in fund balance of about $1.1 million. We can assure you that's not going to happen. We don't know where we will fall, but we will not be going in the fund balance $1.1 million. And obviously, even though this draft of the budget shows a heavier reliance on fund balance of about $2.2 million, we're confident that as we get more information from the Senate, as we look more closely at our budget and make the adjustments we need to make coming out of the continuing resolution, we'll be able to come back to you and present to you. We're very optimistic in the second reading, present to you a reliance on fund balance that is much, much less than $2.2 million. We just ask that you please bear with us through the process and let us work through the things that we need to do, and we will be in very good shape. I'll just mention this. I think I've mentioned this before, that although the budget itself, the components of the budget being very streamlined, coming out of the Senate, the House, now the Senate, does not appear to have a lot of overwhelming components. The challenges are created because we're coming out of a continuing resolution that we cannot adjust mid-year. And we're also, right now, still making decisions and working off of a salary schedule that was 1920. And I think we presented that to you the last time to show you how that looks. That was never updated for 2021, but it will be updated for 21-22. But we're not sure exactly what what it's gonna look like yet. So those things do present some challenges. But again, we're optimistic to bring you back a much better picture at the second reading. I'll be happy to take any questions regarding the revenues or any other items at this time, before a few other comments and turn it over to Dr.
One question, what's the current base student cost?
Current base student cost this year is $2,489. This draft is estimated on 2,500, which is the house version. Right. Dr. Goodwin, that's all I have for the presentation. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback. If you have any during the process, we welcome discussions with you. All questions are fair game. Please let us know if you have those questions. Hopefully you understand that we are working very, very hard to bring you a very good budget for the 21-22 year. There are a lot of positive things ahead with the ESSER monies and other things we've talked about. We've just got to make sure that from a general fund standpoint, we are being good stewards and that we are doing everything we can to make sure that we operate our school district with students in mind first and foremost, making sure our staff is in a good position to instruct and take care of those children. We also want to make sure that from a facility standpoint, we keep those operating. So we'll take a look at all facets of the budget as we come up before we come back to you for second reading. With that, Dr. Goodwin, I'll turn it over to you for any comments and the proposal.
There are a few things that I would like to point out just as details. One is, this is an unusual budget that appears to be, it's going to come out once the Senate and House get together, because the Senate actually put in $1,000 across the board teacher raise. So no matter what cell the teacher is in the pay scale, they'll get a flat $1,000. That's being done in an effort to boost the lower experienced cells at a higher rate than the higher than the upper scale. That's going to be an interesting twist because I don't ever recall us receiving a flat rate for every cell in the chart. Keep in mind that is only for certified staff, so that is teachers and certificate holders. This does not address other staff. The positive of that is it does appear that when they give the $1,000, it'll be straight $1,000 for each employee. It won't be where we have to put in a local match. It appears that that money will come straight through. So that does not push the balance on the two sides out of whack. Mr. Willard and myself have had great discussions about the fact that we're proposing a balance or a fund balance reliance of $2.2 million on the first reading. But we feel very confident that based on conference committee, that after the House and the Senate work through this process, we're going to be able to bring you back a very, very good budget in second reading that will be one that we can work in. I would also point out again that we do not feel that the reliance to be budgeted on fund balance for this year is going to be the case. We feel like that number is going to be much different than that 1.2 million that we had shown on that line. So again, we feel very confident that when this process is all completed, we're going to bring you a very good budget. We believe every time that the DEA has met since COVID began, they have increased after that first decrease of tax projections. Everyone since then, they have actually increased budgetary projections. We believe that's going to happen again. My information from my association, Mr. Willard's information from his association, is that that's going to continue to be the trend. That is why the House and the Senate are waiting to finalize anything. So I'd be happy to take any other questions.
I have a question. You said that that's going to be certified. We'll get 1,000 straight across the board.
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything planned for the classified? Do you see anything?
Well, our district historically has done something for both classified and certified teachers and or staff members. But to go and to put a flat rate on those sales would be very difficult because of the gaps that are there between the pay grades. We would, we have talked in the office within ourselves about a possibility of looking at a percent COLA for all classified schedules, bringing you a number that we can make work into the budget that would be somewhere comparable to the kind of percentage that professional staff are receiving.
So we're gonna take care of everyone.
Our plan would be that, and unless our board had a feel that they didn't want to follow that historical preference, we would want to take care of them also.
Not definitely think we should. I would accept the first reading as presented.
I have one question on the two. Y'all probably already said it. And I just
We got a motion and second on the floor now, open up discussions, and you can, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. The $1,000, is that a one-time or that's recurring? Okay,
Yes, sir, it is.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor, say motion, saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Willard. Thank you, Alderman Townsend. Thank you all. All right, now we're down to the personnel report, Dr. Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, at this time, I'd like to recommend the following exhibits for your approval. Exhibits A through G.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, say motion, saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Mr. Chair, at this time, before Dr. Anderson moves forward, I'd like to make a couple of introductions related to those exhibits. Mr. Chair, members of the board, included in those exhibits tonight are two principalships that we would like to announce tonight. And first, I would ask Mr. Todd Fletcher if he would come forward with his wife, Rachel. Yes, I should have prepared her. She was going to come forward. I'm sorry. Mr. Fletcher, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Fletcher tonight as the new principal of McD Elementary School. He has been there now, I guess, 3 years as assistant principal. Before that, he was at Sherrill Intermediate School as a instructional coach there, and then previously he had been in other school districts. There is no doubt that Mr. Fletcher is well prepared to take on this job. He has a wide range of experiences in both the instructional side and the operational side, and we would like to welcome him tonight as the new principal of McD Elementary School. Got a couple of big major mistakes.
RACH.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Mr. Fletcher, before you sit down, we'd like to congratulate you on your being announced new principal of McD Elementary. We look forward to working with you. Just appreciate everything you do for our children. This time I've opened up any board member like to say thank you before we start.
I'll say mine.
You say yours.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Fletcher's it's on site. Oh my gosh. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Chauncey Malachi and his wife, Kanisha. They would come forward. I'm still adjusting to the awkwardness too of not shaking hands. I haven't gotten through it yet. I noticed with our players, we got past that. Tonight, it gives me pleasure to introduce Dr. Chauncey Malachi as the new principal of Sherrill High School. I'm also going to take an opportunity of personal privilege to say had the opportunity to serve on his dissertation committee. And so I know that he finished the process. So I can verify that my name is, it got signed on that sheet. And we congratulate him on that. He finished up during COVID time, so it was a little different going through that process. Dr. Malachi is currently the assistant principal at Sherrall Primary School. Before that, he was the director of our alternative school here at PLC. And prior to that, he was a guidance counselor at Sherrall High School. And prior to that, he was across the river, and we won't name that district. But while I spoke with him at great extent about him coming across, he made it clear to me, while he did grow up across the river, he spent most of his time over in Sherrall. So I think he feels like he is at home in Sherrall. He did finish his doctorate this past year at Wingate University, and he is well prepared to be a high school principal with his wide range of experiences that he's had. So tonight, we'd like to welcome the new principal of Sherrall High School, Dr. Johnson Malachi.
Dr. Malachi, we look forward to working with you. Appreciate everything you do for our children. Continue to do for them. We're here to support you whatever way. Appreciate what you do. Any comments?
Congratulations. Best success in your new role. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Moving forward with our COVID update. Last time we gave you an update was April 12th. It was so it's been about 3 or 4 weeks. Looking, we've got our staff numbers in regards to our staff positive cases, which is looking very, very good. Over the last few weeks, certainly want to continue that trend. As far as our students, see 9 as being one of the it's been a high in the last few weeks. But we've seen higher numbers, of course, and lower numbers. Just want to continue to keep managing those numbers with our positive cases in regards to our students. Looking at our staff isolations, quarantines, those numbers look good as well. It's good to have staff on board. So they're following the same pattern as we saw with our staff positives. In terms of really, really down. We're grateful for that. Okay. And finally, looking at our student isolations and quarantines. Last week we had 63, and that was pretty high in comparison to our previous weeks. But when we look at that that 63, and even looking at week 33, 43, week 31, 35, those are specific classes. So, even those high numbers, again, a class here, a class there, they just hold up. Any questions? Thank you.
Now to our next item, down to our state report from Dr. Wagner, the EDTC.
I'd like to thank the Chesterfield Board for allowing me to come and talk about this very exciting time of the year. I'd like to thank Dr. Goodwin and the parents who came to support the 2 students that we're recognizing. Northeastern Tech College and Chesterfield has had a long relationship with dual enrollment, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what we've done and accomplished together. In 2019, we had 96 students participate in dual enrollment. And currently this year, we had 321. The pass rate of the students participating in dual enrollment this year was 97.04%. The average grade for a spring semester student was 90.1%. So very outstanding students, very outstanding success in the Chesterfield School District with our students. Currently, we have 110 seniors that receive cohorts that have completed 6 or more semester hours. That's 42 for Sherrall High School, 27 for Chesterfield High School, 26 for MacB, and 15 for Central High School. We have 2 seniors with us tonight, and I'd like to bring them forward. With Carol Linton, who is graduating with her Associate of Science degree from Sherrall High School, and Joseph Mabe. And this is really dear to my heart. He's graduating with his welding certificate and has a job right after high school. Oh, he's already working. That is awesome to hear. Every parent wants to hear that one. And welding certificate has a really strong point in my heart because my first certificate when I graduated from high school was a forklift certification. The second was a welding certification. So I ended up as a college president. So who knows where you're going?
Hello, everyone. First of all, I just want to thank y'all for your support of the dual enrollment program. I remember about 4 years ago, I was often called crazy in my high school because they were like, nobody's ever done this, but I'll definitely support you through it. And now I'm proud to say in about 3 days, I'll be graduating my degree. And my father, who's sitting right there, he's going to be getting a certificate. I just have to throw that in there. So I just wanted to just express my gratitude for being able to be a part of this program and just say about how much it has changed me as a person over these past 2 years because I started at the end of 10th grade. And I even was able to go to Washington, D.C. to speak with legislative aides about the importance of this program and just how it can really encourage the college enrollment in our community. So thank you very much.
Humble there. She went to Washington, D.C. and represented the college and Chesterfield High School very well with many legislators at a national conference. And also, she is now nationally presenting on 3 different presentations as a dual enrollment student on the success of dual enrollment and how it's helped her grow as a student. And we're very excited that she is graduating. Sorry to see her go because we tap her a lot to do a lot of things at the college, and it's been a pleasure having her there. Awesome.
Know that I was talking. The dual enrollment program was brought to me in my 12th grade year. Every student never knows what step they want to take. Some believe that they want to do something, but something else is presented. And Mr. Chad Pitt helped me getting into NETC, and I had a fascination with welding, and we took that first step. I got a wonderful teacher, Mr. Eli Larson, as my MIG welding instructor. And he told me one day, you make me a rock star. And sir, I'm making good money now. And I just want to say thank you very much for allowing me to do this. I don't know where I'd be at right now if it weren't for this program. So thank you.
Like again, I really want to thank Chesterfield School District for allowing us to offer dual enrollment for our students. And our goal is every student in Chesterfield High School to participate in dual enrollment. So we're very excited to have that happen. So thank you very much.
You took yes. You took yes. Oh. Thank you, Dr. Wayne. Appreciate what you do for us too. Give us a smile for our school district, give us a smile, and get these children where they can see them.
pathway of what they want to do when they grow up in the big school district. This time, I'd like to go down to our next item, down to our curriculum report, Ms. Bolster.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Goodwin. Turn your attention to our screens. I would like to highlight our Superintendent Art Award winners. This is our primary school winner, London Lowe, a first grader at Edwards Elementary. Her actual artwork is displayed on the table if you'd like to look at it afterwards. Our elementary winner is Miss Elena Goodwin. She is from a fourth grader at Sherrall Intermediate. Our middle school winner, Lamaya Lyles, 8th grade student at Long Middle. And our high school winner is Miss Summer Scott, 12th grader at Chesterfield High School. These will be displayed at the district office for the next 3 years, and then we will give them to the students that are framed by the district, and we will highlight those at the district office for the next few years. The only other thing I wanted to highlight for y'all is registration for virtual CCS took place April the 12th through the 26th. We had a total of 278 students that responded, saying that they would like to participate in virtual school for next year. District administrators determined the use of criteria to decide if students would be able to participate based on academic success in the past with virtual school, as well as their attendance in virtual school. Mr. Dennis McDaniel is working through those lists, talking with principals, and we are going to be contacting students that will be involved in virtual for next year. Right now, it looks like we have just a little over 4% of our population that's interested in virtual school for next year.
Good question. My question is, since the information is coming down now where maybe students from 12 up will be able to be eligible for the vaccination, for those who have signed up, if they get their vaccination and decide the parents decide they want to put it into public school, will we be able to make that adjustment?
Yes, sir, you will. Right now, we just need to gather information. This was our registration just so that we could plan, so we would know our numbers. But we are willing to work with families and make any adjustments we need to.
All right, one other question for you. You through?
Yes, sir.
Look, this is related to information technology. And I noticed that we get more Chromebooks in, and you're all buying shelving now to be able to store. What type of training do we have set up for our teachers, especially those teachers that might be in the system 20 plus years and may not be as computer literate as some of our young teachers?
Yes, sir.
And I saw something in here about a hub being set up in Columbia with instructional training. But are we going to have anything in this district for teachers to be able to come in, get training, what have you, or just what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are in the planning stages of all that. We plan to have great support and PD for our teachers. We would like to give them their Chromebooks before they go home for the summer so that they can actually play with them, use them, start getting more familiar with them. But yes, the school district will be supplying a lot of professional development for them.
And if you recall, Ms. Sweeney, we're adding the core instructional technology.
I saw that. I just didn't see the training.
And that way we will be adding those in, and those are actually an extended contract so that we can do pre-service time next year before we begin the school year training for the team.
So a lot of training will be going on during the summer.
Yes, sir. And then also embedded during the school year. Matter of fact, we'll have a trainer at every school once a week during the school year.
Okay. That's good.
Any other questions? Thank you.
I'm going to step back a little bit, and I'm going to re-recognize our two students that, did go well and want to congratulate them on what they've done. Thank you for selling and stepping forward and doing this new program we started, and we appreciate both of y'all doing that and coming forward tonight, showing us y'all's experience, and look forward to hearing more of these. And like I said, Dr. Wagner, appreciate you coming, and the family, y'all want to step out this time. I know kind of went over on that. I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate y'all telling y'all story, y'all, as we continue to watch what's happening in this program. Thank you very much. Then we'll get down. This time, okay. Each year we have to bring you the authorization of federal programs representative. That representative for our district is Dr. Candace Hoffman. You'll notice the different federal programs that she represents for us: Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and Title V. And we would ask that you authorize her as our federal programs representative.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Mr. Chair, we have three policies that I think can all be taken together because they're all related to one another. And basically, it is updating any policy that we have that relates to tobacco use in school. And you will notice that it adds the terms alternative nicotine products, and that shows up in a number of spots in each of these. This is a requirement by DPEC that we update this policy. They contacted all districts and reminded us of this update. The update is actually pretty in place before pre-COVID, but quite honestly, I think that them sending everybody home from work, it just did not trickle down to us. So we would ask for first reading approval of the updated policy ABC, GBED, and JICG.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, next in your folders, Ms. Haddock has prepared a proposed meeting schedule for next year. You will notice that we moved the September meeting. We typically go to a school on that one. I asked her if she would make that first one be in October, just to make sure we've got our sea legs under us as we come back in the school year. So this would be the schools we were supposed to visit this year. So we would just recycle those and would give you, a month to review those. And Mr. Chair, if it's okay next month, there are no issues. Under my comments tonight, just a lot of dates reminding you that all schools will be closed on May 31st for Memorial Day. Remember, this is a year where elementary and middle schools go 5 extra days. That was part of the elite money that was given to schools. So we chose to put our elite days at the end of the year. That way we could start regular school days earlier. And so that was how we chose to do it. We were one of about 15 districts that chose to do it that way, as opposed to flipping it at the beginning. So that would be the last day for high school students, would be June 4th. June 5th will be high school graduations, and you have the time there. And then the last day for elementary and middle school students will be a half day, and it will be June 11th. Also, would remind you that the Teacher of the Year banquet is tomorrow night at Sherrall High School. You might ask why we're going to like the Sherrall High School. It's because of the type of furnishing we have and the way we can meet the distancing requirements that we have. And likewise, we're going to sort of reuse our setting and everything. So we're going to go right back to the retirement dinner at the same site. And it'll be at 6 o'clock on May the 20th. We are only going to be able to recognize this year's retirees in person on that night because of the number of guests that we have for that program. So we hate that we cannot recognize last year's retirees,
but we have ordered their gift from the district, and they will get the same option, to choose like they normally did for last year's retirees. And finally, adult day graduation is on June 29th this year. That's very unusual that we push it that far. What's been happening is we get those young folks who finish their diploma after the high school year ends. They come in and go 2 to 3 weeks, we can say this check, they finish, and then it's a whole nother year before we recognize them. We don't want to miss those students who do that. So we're going to put it on Tuesday, June 29th, almost the end of the fiscal year. Mr. Chair, I think that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Goodwin. Now, under chairman comments, just let you know, next meeting we have on June 14th, regular meeting will be here at Continental Learning Center at 5:30. Our second session will start at 5. If no other business is here, we need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, say motion saying aye. Aye. All opposed?